Love our Fret Tea Talk? Make sure you follow us for our latest episode. And all you need is your favorite drink and grab a seat, because our Fret Tea Talks will never miss a beat.
Hello, good people. This is Nicole Rose. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Between Frets, a space where female musicians who play stringed instruments meet and discuss all things music. We have an excellent show for you today. We have Tiffany Lloyd, aka Tiffs Bass. She is out of the DMV area. She's had the opportunity to work with amazing artists from Kenny Lattimore, Lisa Ray, Kiki Wyatt, Avery Sunshine, and legends. I want you to hear me, people. Legends such as Glenn Whitfield and Gladys Knight. All right, awesome. And she is a member of the DC chapter of the Grammy Award Recording Academy. And there's more to her than just music. She is also a motivational speaker. We'll get into all of that a little later. But first of all, I just want to say, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am great. I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're only our second bassist, and I'm so stoked to have another bassist with us.
Wow.
Yeah, I love the bass. Can't play, but I love it. So I'm happy to talk to you. Now, I hear you were originally from New Jersey, and now you're in the DMV area. Where did music start for you? Was it in New Jersey, or did it not come until later in life?
Actually, it did start in New Jersey. In high school, I was in high school when it started. So, and actually, I started on piano. So I was a kid when I really started with music, and then I switched over to bass.
Okay, what made you switch to bass from piano?
Well, bass captivated me. It really found me. I kept hearing it in songs that I didn't know what instrument it was. So I asked somebody, and it just so happens I asked a bass player, and he's also a lead guitar player. So I asked the right person, and that's what got me, over to bass. I did go back and learn piano as far as like formal training, but after a while I got busy, playing bass. So I just kept going with that.
Okay, so what was your first bass? What age was that? What was your first bass you picked up?
16. I had a Fender, a 4-string Fender. I wish I kept it. But yeah, I had a 4-string white Fender. It was great. Fender Squire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We tend to get rid of our first instruments, unfortunately.
I know.
That is great. So did you switch over to formal training in bass as well? Did you have that teacher who told you to go to bass, or was it someone else entirely different?
It was somebody else entirely different. So I had a private instructor for bass, and I had regular training in piano. So, but I was already playing bass when I was taking piano lessons.
Okay, so did you quickly move up to a 5-string, 6-string, or was like the 4 strings what you had for a long time?
No, I quickly moved up to a 5-string because I started playing in church, and when you play like gospel music, it's easier to play a 5-string, and a lot of gospel songs and gospel styles demand like a lower, that low B string that you have on a 5 or 6. So I did quickly switch over to a 5-string.
Exactly. I understand that totally. As a church girl, I understand. Now,
yeah.
So is anyone else in your family musical? Is this something that you found on your own, the love for music?
Actually, one of my sisters is a piano player, and that's what got me started playing piano. She used to play, I used to always see her play the piano in the living room when I was a kid. And when she would leave, I would try to sneak in and try to play what she just played. So I would try to mimic what she was doing. She's the only other musician in the family.
So do y'all get to jam out together at all?
Not really. She doesn't play. She sings now. So she's into singing. So, but she does come to my shows and all. So that's cool.
Yeah, family support is awesome when you get it.
Yeah, definitely.
So since you had the instructor from bass and piano, did you go into school and study music, or is this something you took up on your own and just kept up with it?
I took it up on my own and kept up with it. I started to major in music in undergrad, and then I switched out. I didn't really have a guidance counselor. I wish I did, but it's okay. I ended up just getting a lot of private instruction outside of undergrad, and then went on to grad school.
So tell me your first gig experience. What was your age? What was the gig? What did you play?
Oh, wow. I guess my first real gig was outside of church. So it was with a band. I know Jenny's familiar with it, Belladonna Band, and we did some gigs behind some major artists. I think one of my first major ones was behind Lisa Ray, and as well as Kiki White was a little bit more down the line. But yeah, that was like my first like real show.
Oh wow! Out the gate, you pull Lisa Ray. How dope is that?
Right, and that was on a whim because I was just filling in, so that was really cool. It was on a whim, but yeah, it worked out well. I was excited, you know, and it was a good show. So yeah, it was definitely an experience.
Having that being your first gig and someone of, you know, that caliber that's well known, were you more nervous or were you just amped to get out there and do what you do?
I was just amped to get out there. That's the thing. I'll be nervous, but it's more anxious than like actually scared. So I was, even at that beginning stage, I was just more anxious and ready to get out there than anything else. So
you think church warmed you up for that to get you prepared?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because the churches that I've been in kind of have a big stage feel, you know, so you're already up in front of a lot of people. So that kind of warms you up to being in front of a lot of people. You know, it's just a different type of genre and a different type of stage. So
yeah, and church people know, church musicians, choir members, those are some of the hardest audiences.
Oh my gosh. Exactly, by far.
They will let you know if it's good or not. So.
They really will. They really
church
will.
mother in the front frowning like, oh no, I messed up.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, that church mother used to play piano when she was like a teenager. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy.
Yeah.
So coming from that, is your genre your personal preference? Is it more gospel, more R&B, or you like eclectic? You listen or want to play some of everything?
I more so want to play a little bit of everything. I think gospel gave me a lot of influence to put a lot of gospel feels into other genres like R&B and jazz, and it all kind of intertwines anyway. But I would say gospel really set the standard for me skill-wise. I learned a lot of approaches through gospel, and then I'm able to apply that to other genres. So I like to play a mixture of everything.
So what was one of the first songs you learned, like for your own personal, not to learn in church? Was that a gospel or was that an R&B song you can remember?
It was definitely gospel.
Okay.
It was some of the most high-tech gospel. That's what I grew up learning, like, you know. So that helped me build an ear too as well, and it helped me get used to learning songs note for note.
Do you play by ear? Do you read music as well?
A little of both. A little bit of both. I would say I more so play by ear though. As far as like on a regular basis. Every now and again you get a jazz gig where you have to read, but
growing up as a church girl, I'm sure playing with Yolanda Adams and some of the other people you played with, that was like, was it a surprise? Do you know, like, okay, eventually I'm gonna play with such artists because this was in me, that's what I grew up in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say it was more so not a surprise. It was more so I just knew it was in me, but I was still extremely grateful for the experience. It wasn't like, oh well, yeah, of course, but but you know, it was something I just knew would happen because I just knew it would happen. So just didn't know the path to these, you know, with certain artists and things like that. But,
okay, that's awesome. Let me backtrack a little bit. As I mentioned, you are a fitness instructor, or you were a fitness instructor. Is that a passion that you still have, or is it something that came on later?
No, that was early on. I don't do it now because I don't have time. But when I first came out of undergrad, I was doing fitness instruction, and I was doing it part-time until my goal was to go full-time music. So I used that as because I was doing music part-time and I was doing fitness instruction part-time. And I just worked really, really hard to build like a little cushion, because I knew how, you know, the full-time music world is. You're kind of out there, and if a gig gets canceled, you don't want to be stuck, you know. Exactly. So I just, you know, worked a little extra hard when I knew was time for me to transition into full-time music. And yeah, basically just transitioned. So I still work out for myself, and I even have a trainer myself now, but
Oh, wow.
yeah, I don't have time to do the whole fitness instruction. But I would say it was more of at the time, it was more of a passion for fitness, period, more than, doing the actual instruction. So that's what fueled me to be able to help other people as far as instructing and being a personal trainer. So yeah. Some people are fitness instructors, and they are like, go hard forever, will never stop doing it. And my hat's off to them. My hats are really off to them. Yeah.
But it seems as though that mentality of helps and wanting to help other people and lead them to greater is just in you, because you're also a motivational speaker as well.
Yes.
So
I
did
still
that
do
happen
that.
in college as well? Or what do you usually speak to people about?
That happened more down the line when I was already a full-time musician. A lot of times I end up doing like women's conferences or school. I'll come to like a school and speak to the music class. And it's basically to help give, guidance as far as like a lot of kids will have questions about what happens when you become a full-time musician, or just a lot of questions about being a musician, period. And then sometimes I'll speak to women's conferences. There's a lot of women out here that want to be musicians or singers or artists, or all the above. And they don't know exactly how to jump out there and what to expect, because there's a lot of things to know that you're going to face as a musician and as a female musician too.
Yeah, it's more than a notion. It's definitely a daunting task at any age too.
It
Want
is.
to be a musician.
Yeah, it is.
People just see the glamour. They don't see all the work that actually goes behind it.
Oh my gosh, they don't. And the funny thing is, and this is with any industry, in my opinion, any star on any level, we see it as hard work. Other people see it as fame, but they don't see we almost see it as like, okay, the limelight is what you should get. It's just a byproduct of hard work. It doesn't look any different to us than it does to, say, someone who's working a 9 to 5 in an office every day and it's not in that same light. But yeah, I think it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes.
Yeah, you've nailed that. You say the limelight comes with it. And like, I know of plenty of musicians, you may be one that the limelight is not even something that you're striving for. You just want to play.
Exactly. I think those make the best ones to be in the limelight, the ones that are not striving to it, because striving to be in it, because you're not putting all your efforts towards what needs to be focused on. You're focused on being seen instead of focusing on the actual craft. So yeah.
And there's people like you, I can tell you have like a great spirit. So all this stuff is coming to you. It's because of that great spirit that you have. And you're not out there, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna make it and I'm the next Cardi B. Like, you're not saying Cardi B is bad. You know what I mean?
Right. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? You just want to be, that big part. You just want to enjoy the music and make a living off of doing what you love. Is what it
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And I even look at people like Taraji and Denzel. They're just great at what they do, and they just do it. Like they go out there and just be themselves. But like the byproduct is they're in the limelight because they're the best at what they do.
Yeah.
So,
no pretense, just doing what they love.
Just doing what they love. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Now, I want to say I had the chance to listen to Viscosity.
Oh, cool.
And I just want to say, if I was a person that doesn't like people, I would not like you after that, because that is amazing.
Thank you.
Like, I just like I want to hate on it. Like, oh my God, like, but you can't because it's so good.
Thank you so much.
I want to hate you. I'm joking.
I know you.
It's just from the first line, it's like arpeggios, and then like it makes you. It's one of those that you just want to sit there and sit in it. Like, okay, where did this come from? Where was her mind at when she thought of this? And I want you to tell me, where did you birth this from? Where was your mindset when you thought of this?
You know what's funny? I'm going to tell you, like I said at my last concert, it was 2:00 in the morning when I came up with that song. I actually wrote it pretty fast. I was up late.
Come on, say you labored over this. Let me stop.
Right, I know, right? Like, it took me forever. No, I had a lot on my mind, and you can tell by the song. But I actually wrote it in the middle of the night, and sometimes that's the best time to write, or that's when a lot of things come to you. But now, where the name of the song came to me, I don't know, but I know it just came to me, and I had to Google it to find out what in the world is viscosity, because it's not like I have ever heard that name, or I didn't know what the term was. So I and I wrote that in the middle of the night. And you can hear there's a lot of drums going on in the song. It's all programmed, but yeah, I wrote it late at night.
I love it. And like I say, with these kind of pieces and these kind of songs, I like to know where people's mindset was. You say it was just in the middle of the night and it just came to you.
It just came to me.
So, that was like a God ordained thing. Let me just give her this right quick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That is amazing. Are you working on any new music or is any albums coming out soon?
I am working on my EP. I hope to release it by my next concert. I have a couple of songs that are already like ready to go on there. So hopefully I can just get them all printed and ready to go by the end of the summer. So that's what's next.
Do you know how many songs that you're planning to put on it, or?
Five songs on the EP. So,
okay. Yeah. Is it the same vibe or feel as Viscosity, or is it everything is a little different?
Everything is a little different. And that's a big thing for me. I don't like to write all the songs to sound the same. So everything is a little bit different. And but it's a lot of Tiffany. It's like a lot of my style, a lot of my approach, which is not the regular, typical bass player. But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But
hey, from that song, it's a good thing. Keep it up. It's a good thing. I can tell you, I really enjoyed that song, and I'm not putting on. That was I really love it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, what if you had to pigeonhole yourself? What kind of artist do you think you are? If someone okay, tell me who you are as an artist. What would you say?
I would say I am silly, but I'm definitely one of those artists that I'm not scared to just be myself instead of sounding like the typical, I hate to say the word typical, but the typical bass player artist. So I don't expect anyone to expect me to sound like, oh, that's a bass player, or oh yeah, a bass player would play that, or oh, it sounds like a bass player. I know I'm not the average, and I don't mean that in a cocky way. I mean just like I'm not your typical bass player. So, but I'm not scared to embrace that. So I'm comfortable in my own lane. That's the kind of artist I am.
I love that. I mean, it's not cocky. It's just, celebrating who you are. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Because a lot of times I grew to that because, I wasn't always like, oh, is it okay for me to be myself?
I was going to ask that, like, as a female musician, how long did it take you to cultivate that sense of awareness in who you are and who you are as a musician?
It didn't take long because I grew up playing with all guys. So they don't, and the one thing I love about playing with guys is they don't expect you to, they don't give you a crutch as a girl. They just want you to be a musician and play the part. They don't care if you're a girl. They don't care.
If you're good, you're good.
You're good. If you're not, you're not. That's it. Like they don't give you that pass. It's just, we want to hear bass from, in my position. So it didn't take long. I would say maybe just a year or two is when I said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay. As far as like, this is my role, so.
Have you had any adversity from male musicians or female alike that made you want to back up for a minute and say, maybe I need to reevaluate if music is what I want to do? Or do you always just barrel through and like, this is what I'm doing, I don't care about anyone outside of that?
No, I never had that. You do see some adversity, but I never felt that way. Ironically, a lot of people used to talk to me about not doing music maybe because I had so much education, which I thought was funny because I'm like, so are you saying like musicians aren't smart?
Exactly.
But yeah, and really I mean, I went and I got my MBA to help me in music. So I said, well, music, I mean, as far as education, it just helps you further in music. But so the opposite happened with me as far as feeling, like I should maybe, or, rethinking everything. It's not that those vibes never came to me. I don't know. I probably just didn't pick up on them or ignored them or didn't see them because I'm I'm zoned out in whatever I want to do. So
yeah. And not to overshadow that or overlook it, it's a major accomplishment. You do have an MBA from the American Intercontinental University, correct?
Yes, correct.
What was that in?
That was in healthcare management, actually. That
Oh
was
my
a
goodness.
concentration.
Oh, and you're
Yeah.
like uber intelligent. That's even better. Like you're one of my new favorite people. I'm
Thank
just throw it
you.
out there. So,
Oh,
I
thank
was
you.
I went to school for medicine as well, and I played guitar. It's like
Wow.
just I love that. I
Oh,
love
wow.
education
That's
plus the music. You have something to fall back
right.
on. You know.
Yeah, and it keeps you going. I mean, that's the other thing too, as far as being knowledgeable in health. You know, a lot of musicians are not healthy, and some die at an early age. Not that you can't die if you're not healthy. I mean, at an early age, but it just, as far as being on the road and things like that, you have to keep yourself healthy, and it's no better way to do that than to understand how health works, how your body works, and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you don't mind, speak on that for a second. As someone from the health field and the rigors on your body, on your mind of touring and having to learn so much music and being the stress of
Mhm.
this and worrying about getting the next gig and will this come through? Could you tell people how you deal with that or how to help them out a little bit?
Well, it's going to sound weird, but eating as clean as you can will keep your mental space very clean. It's amazing that what you put in your mouth can affect your brain.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, toxins from a lot of processed foods. Well, I mean, of course, not only will it weigh you down, but mentally it'll make you foggy. That's why a lot of times when people do detoxes and things like that, they feel like they're very alert, because, yeah, I mean, a lot of, toxic foods or just foods that are processed basically can really wear you down. So when you're on the road a lot, or even just simply overloaded with music, you have to eat as clean as, if not even fast. I do that a lot.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
fast a lot, where you can just keep your body, you give your organs a rest, from working so hard. They've been working all your life, so they need a break. And but and then also resting. That's another part. Of course, resting in general is a big part of making it in the music industry, but as well as resting your body, resting your organs, with healthy food, and then sometimes no food. And then you also will sleep better. Your rest quality is much better. Your sleep quality is much better. So yeah, it plays a big part. And I think it gets ignored too much among musicians and artists and singers. And yeah, so.
Yeah, and once you get that euphoric feeling of a clear mind, you're also more creative because more is like
Exactly.
filtered in.
Right, right, exactly. And you're less likely to mess up. That happens with musicians too. I mean, you're going to still mess up, period. But, some really tragic things can happen. It's because the musician hasn't slept in like 5 days, or they ate crap all week. That stuff is real. It's not just oh, you can do it or you don't have to do it. It's
Yes.
necessary to try to be healthy.
You better educate the people, Tiffany. That's what's up. Okay.
Try.
So you have another major accomplishment. I just want to say congratulations for your endorsement with Elixir Strings.
Thank you. I'm so happy about that.
Yes, yes. And how did that come about? And also, do you have any more endorsements?
I do have more. I have Elric bass guitars. That was my first endorsement. And I have GR bass amps. That was my second. And I also am endorsed by Calabrio Studios. So that was my third. So this one was my most recent yesterday. Elixir Strings. Yeah,
Congratulations again.
yeah.
That's a great strings, great company.
Oh my gosh, I love them.
So now that you have all these accomplishments, you're intelligent, you're healthy, you're trying to help people, motivate other women. What do you want to say? Say you had young, you had one room with young adults, say from 5 to 16 that want to do music, and you have another room with adults who are getting into it later, maybe 35 right. and up. Would your advice for them be the same, and how would you approach them differently or the same if they want to get into music?
My advice to them all would be the same, and that would be a few pointers, which is discipline. And it's also going to take a lot of sacrifice. It's like if you see somebody walking around with a 6-pack abs, they didn't get that from mediocrity. They didn't get that from no discipline. They didn't get that from just saying, "Oh, I look beautiful," and then all of a sudden you have a 6-pack. So it's the same thing. Yeah, I know, right? That would be beautiful. It's the same thing with being a musician. No matter what age, if you're going to start when you're 6 years old, or if you're going to start when you're 16, or if you're going to start when you're 46, it's the same thing. You have to apply a lot of self-discipline, and it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. You might have to sacrifice your social life sometimes, and just different things like that. But those are the key things that you have to be ready for. And even if you aren't good with self-discipline, work towards it and then become a musician. Baby steps. It's not all overnight. So yeah, and you got to kind of miss out on some movie nights. And that's the other thing with musicians. We work on the weekends more than we work during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you're traveling and stuff, you're working during the week, but the typical American time out is on the weekends. But that's when we're entertaining. So it's like you have to be aware that if you're one that likes to have your weekends, you can kiss that goodbye. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, in a good way. You love it. You won't want to trade it for anything. So.
And that's another thing, you have to be willing to sacrifice and be diligent. And like you say, you may have to miss out on some date nights. You might have to miss out on events with your friends. And that takes the mental discipline. Some people, may want, the limelight or what they think comes with it, but don't want to put in the work to get to it,
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, it goes back to being the one that's not looking for the limelight. It'll come, but yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle, yes.
So, lastly, I want you to tell the people what you have coming up, what's coming up next, and how can they reach you and follow you.
Oh, yes. So I have a concert coming up at the City Winery in DC, which I'm really excited about. That's August 20th. Thank you. It's August 20th. You can reach me, and you can also get tickets on my website, or of course on their website, on the City Winery DC's website. On social media, I have the ticket links posted everywhere. You can also follow me. Of course, I'm on Instagram at Tiffs Bass, Tiffs. Don't forget the S after the Tiff, because a lot of people forget that. Tiffs Bass is the same on all the social media platforms. So Tiffs Bass on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Did I forget one? But that all the social media platforms. And then of course on my website is tiffsbass.com, and you can get links for all my social media platforms on there as well, and tickets to the concert. So gotta come out to the concert.
Awesome. Will you all go check out Tiffany at the City Winery on the 20th of August? You all go check her out, get tickets. Tell your friends to get tickets. Everybody support. This is a wonderful musician, and please support everything that she does. Great person, okay? And Tiffany, I want to thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I had fun.
Thank you. You're very welcome. And everyone, again, this is Nicole Rose, and this is Between Frets. Tell all your friends, tell all your people, your cousins, and everybody to listen, follow, and share. We really appreciate you. Until next time. Later.
What's up, fam? This is Jenny Jam from Fret Sisters, where we feature female musicians and strings. Got a video? Tag us on @FretSisters on IG or @FretSisters1 on Facebook using hashtag FretSisters. Peace and love.